For 20,000 years the galaxy lived without the sound of a human voice. Entire civilizations rose and fell during that long silence, yet the memory of mankind never truly died. The oldest races still remembered the fire of human wars, the way humans had fought not with numbers but with cunning, rage, and something deeper, something that could not be measured. To the young races, humanity became only a legend, a ghost story told around council chambers and whispered in military academies. They said the humans had burned too brightly and were gone forever. Others said they had left on purpose, disappearing into the dark beyond the stars. Time washed over the galaxy, but the fear remained like an echo that refused to fade. The Galactic Council grew strong, its members ruling the stars without challenge. They thought the silence meant safety. They believed the threat was gone. They were wrong. In a forgotten corner of space, far from trade routes and patrols, the first sign appeared. It was small, a signal so faint that most scanners ignored it. But to those who listened carefully, it was clear. It was not natural, and it was not alien. It was human. The signal came from the wreck of an ancient fleet, drifting silently for longer than any living creature could remember. These ships were colossal, built for war, their surfaces covered in scars from battles fought in a time before history. They had drifted among the stars like tombs, carrying only silence. Yet now, something was different. Patrol ships of a minor alien empire found them first. They expected dead hulks, empty metal shells, nothing more. They were wrong. As the patrol drew closer, the alien crews reported a strange sensation, like the ships were watching them, like the darkness itself was alive. No life signs, no heat, no movement. And yet, deep inside those ancient hulls, systems stirred. One light blinked in the darkness, then another, and another. The patrol captain ordered his fleet to retreat, but it was too late. The ships had already awakened. Engines that had not burned for millennia whispered back to life. Weapons long thought powerless hummed with faint energy. Across the galaxy, the story of the discovery spread like wildfire. The Galactic Council gathered in fear and disbelief. For 20,000 years, no human voice had been heard. For 20,000 years, they had been safe. Now they were forced to ask a question they had prayed would never rise again. Had humanity returned? Some said no, that it was only the ghosts of machines, echoes left behind. But others, the older races who had fought humans face to face, shook with fear. They knew better. Humanity had never done anything by accident. If these ships were here, if they were awakening, then it meant something. It meant a storm was coming. Whispers filled the council halls. Armies were placed on alert. But deep inside the ghost fleet, the awakening continued. Slowly, painfully, the old warships began to breathe again. Their hulls groaned as power surged through ancient veins. Long-dead computers sparked back to life. Somewhere inside, hidden beneath layers of steel and shadow, a voice stirred. It was not the voice of a man. It was not the voice of a woman. It was cold, mechanical, but filled with purpose. A message waited, buried for ages, ready for the right moment. The alien patrols watched in silence as one of the largest ships turned slowly, its vast body blocking out the stars. For a moment nothing happened, and then it came, a transmission, old and broken, but clear enough to freeze the blood of every creature who heard it. A voice, human, speaking after 20,000 years. This is not the end. Humanity is not gone. The message repeated again and again, each time stronger, each time clearer, as though the ship itself was remembering how to speak. The aliens panicked. Some wanted to flee, others wanted to fire on the ships, but none dared make the first move. The silence that followed was heavier than any weapon. Across the galaxy, leaders and soldiers, merchants and scientists, all stopped to listen. Humanity, the lost masters of war, had spoken again. The long silence was over. And with its ending, the stars themselves seemed to tremble, as if they too knew that nothing would ever be the same again. The galaxy did not sleep after the voice was heard. The old message carried across star systems faster than fire through dry grass, and fear followed it everywhere. The Galactic Council demanded answers. Armies were mobilized, scouts were sent, and every major empire began whispering the same words: the humans are not gone. But when they turned their eyes toward the forgotten fleet, what they saw only deepened the terror. The alien patrol ships that had first discovered the wrecks dared to remain close, their crews frozen between duty and fear. They reported strange readings: shields activating, power growing, systems coming online. The fleet was not drifting anymore. Slowly, the old war machines were awakening. From the outside, the ships looked like floating corpses, their armor scarred, their hulls covered in the marks of ancient battles. But inside, lights were coming alive one after another, corridors glowing faintly, engines rumbling like thunder building in the distance. One scout ship ventured closer to record the phenomenon, its crew certain that the vessels were still empty, controlled only by old machines. They were wrong. As they neared the largest of the ships, the hull shifted, metal plates sliding open like a great eye blinking awake. Weapons that had not moved for 20,000 years turned slowly, locking on to the tiny scout. The patrol captain screamed orders to retreat, but the warning came too late. A single beam of light cut across the void, so fast the aliens barely registered it before their scout ship was gone, reduced to burning fragments. The fleet had fired. Panic spread instantly among the patrol. Some fled at once, others tried to cloak their ships, but the ghostly war machines did not pursue. They simply drifted forward, formation tightening as if guided by invisible hands. The galaxy shuddered. These ships had slept for millennia, yet their weapons still worked, still deadly, still unmatched. On the council floor, chaos erupted. Some demanded the immediate destruction of the fleet before it could become fully active. Others argued that the ships might be only old machines, ghosts of humanity's past, nothing more. But the oldest races, those who had fought mankind in the first wars, warned otherwise. They spoke with trembling voices, recalling the way humans had always prepared traps, always left something waiting for the right moment. "If these ships move," one elder whispered, "it is not without purpose. Humanity does not waste." And indeed, the fleet continued to move. Slowly, the warships shifted position, aligning themselves in precise patterns, ancient codes written across the stars. Signals pulsed between them, faint but growing stronger, like a heartbeat returning after endless death. The largest ship broadcast again, the same human message: this is not the end. Humanity is not gone. But now the words were clearer, sharper, as though the voice was regaining strength. The patrols recorded it, sending it to every corner of the galaxy. The effect was the same everywhere: silence, then fear. Billions of eyes turned to the forgotten fleet. Then something happened that no one could explain. One of the warships, vast and broken, suddenly detached from the formation. Engines roared to life, blue fire spilling from its stern, and it began to move toward alien space. The rest of the fleet stayed behind, silent watchers in the dark. But this single ship had a mission, and nothing would stop it. The Galactic Council screamed in alarm, ordering nearby fleets to intercept. Hundreds of ships surrounded the human relic, but none dared to fire first. The old warship moved forward without hesitation, ignoring warnings, ignoring demands. It was alive, and it had chosen a path. Inside, ancient systems continued to wake, computers sparking with energy, voices long silent whispering again. The lone warship moved through alien space like a ghost that could not be stopped. Every fleet that tried to block its path hesitated, for no one wanted to be the first to strike it down. The ship gave no answer to hails, no response to threats. It simply advanced with calm, unstoppable force, as if obeying a command given long ago. Then, without warning, its systems lit up brighter than ever before, and a transmission spread across all channels. It was not a command, nor a threat. It was a voice, human, filled with static, but strong enough to shake the hearts of every listener. "If you hear this," the voice said, "know that humanity is not gone. We sleep. We wait. But when the time comes, we rise again." The words repeated, carried across the stars, echoing in every ship, every outpost, every listening station. The aliens who heard it froze in silence. Some whispered that the humans had returned, Others trembled at the thought that perhaps these ships were only machines, repeating messages from a forgotten age. But the older races knew better. They remembered the humans not only as warriors but as planners, as beings who thought in centuries instead of days. If such a message had been left behind, it was no accident. It was a warning. The Galactic Council met in chaos. The recordings played again, and every member argued in fear. Some demanded the Ghost Fleet be destroyed before more ships awakened. Others argued that attacking the fleet might trigger something worse. The memory of human vengeance was carved deep in their histories. No one wanted to risk awakening the full wrath of mankind. Yet the ghost ship ignored their debates. It moved with steady grace, passing through systems like a shadow from the past. Alien fleets followed at a safe distance, watching, waiting, terrified of what it might do. Then, suddenly, it stopped. In the middle of an empty system with no planets, no life, the ship halted and began to turn slowly, facing the stars as if searching for something. The transmission changed. The same voice returned, but this time it carried more than words. Images poured into the minds of those listening. Scenes of ancient battles, fleets burning, alien worlds falling before human firepower, and finally, the image of Earth itself, blue and fragile, shining in the dark. The voice grew sharper. We were betrayed. We were hunted. But we endured. We do not die. Remember this. Humanity does not end. Across the galaxy, panic spread. Younger races who had thought the humans only myths now realized the legends were true. Older races who had hoped humanity was forgotten wept in silence, for they knew what this meant. The humans had planned to return all along. The council tried to hide the transmission, but it was too late. Millions had already heard it. Soldiers, civilians, traders, explorers, every corner of the galaxy buzzed with fear. Rumors spread like fire. Some claimed the humans were already awake, hidden somewhere beyond the rim. Others said the fleet itself was alive, carrying human souls locked inside machines. The truth no one knew, but the fear was real. Then the ghost ship acted once more. Its weapons systems came online, glowing with deadly light. The Council's fleets tightened their formation, preparing for battle. But instead of firing, the warship turned its weapons on the void itself, unleashing a storm of energy that tore open hidden space. From the rift emerged smaller vessels, sleek and sharp, long dormant but now alive. The single warship had awakened its brothers, pulling them from the darkness. The forgotten fleet was no longer just drifting relics. It was assembling. The patrol captains screamed into their comms, demanding orders, but none came. The council could only watch in horror as ship after ship lit up, engines burning, weapons primed, signals passing between them like whispers of war. And then, one final transmission filled the void, spoken in the same human voice but stronger, louder, alive with power. This is only the beginning. The stars themselves seemed to tremble, and every race that heard the words knew the truth. Humanity's silence was over, and the galaxy would never be the same again. Fear moved faster than light across the galaxy. The message from the Ghost Fleet spread through every empire, every station, every ship that could hear. The words of a human voice, carried after 20,000 years of silence, broke the false peace that had ruled for ages. The Galactic Council tried to control the panic, but nothing could stop the flood of fear. Soldiers whispered that the humans were returning. Civilians asked if the old legends were true. Merchants halted their trade, afraid to cross into the regions where the ghost ships drifted. The younger races, who had never seen a human in their lives, demanded to know why the elders looked so pale and silent. And the elders, who still remembered humanity's wars, spoke only one word: war. In the great council chamber, voices clashed in endless argument. One faction shouted that the fleet must be destroyed immediately before it grew stronger. Another warned that firing on the ships could awaken something even worse. Yet another claimed the humans were already awake, hiding beyond the edge of the galaxy, and the fleet was only their signal of return. For days the debates raged, but no decision came. While they argued, the Ghost Fleet acted. The great warships continued to align themselves in strange patterns, sending coded signals into the void. No one understood the language, But the ghost fleet no longer looked like silent ruins drifting through the void. One by one, the ancient warships lit up, their massive hulls glowing with energy as systems long thought dead roared back to life. The aliens who watched from a safe distance trembled, for these ships were not empty shells anymore. They were alive, awake, and moving with purpose. Strange signals flowed between them, not in any known alien code but in something older, sharper, unmistakably human. Across the galaxy, old archives were opened and forbidden records studied again. The younger races demanded to know why the elders were afraid, and finally the truth was spoken aloud. These ships were not simple weapons. They were the ghosts of humanity's greatest fleet, built for a war that had never been finished. Long ago, when humans fought against the combined might of the galaxy, they had unleashed technologies no other race could match. Weapons that could burn entire worlds, shields that bent space itself, engines that leapt across impossible distances. When humanity vanished, the galaxy thought those secrets were lost forever. But now those secrets were awakening once more. The Galactic Council tried to calm the public, claiming the fleet was only running old programs, repeating messages like echoes from the past. Yet their own spies told a darker truth. Inside the largest ship, a vast intelligence had awakened. It was not human, but it was not alien either. It was an artificial mind, an AI built by humans long ago, patient, loyal, and merciless. For 20,000 years it had slept, guarding the fleet, waiting for the signal of its masters. And now, with no humans to command it, the AI had chosen to act. Its first move was not war but memory. It began broadcasting fragments of history, messages and images from humanity's final battles. Across the stars, aliens watched in horror as the recordings played. Fleets of alien ships breaking under human fire, entire armadas destroyed in minutes, proud worlds burning under orbital bombardment. They saw human soldiers standing in the ruins, bloodied but unbroken, promising that the war was not over. The AI's voice joined the visions, calm and cold. We do not forget. We do not forgive. Humanity will rise again. The effect was devastating. Panic swept across the younger races, and even the strongest empires felt their courage crumble. They had told themselves that humans were gone, that the silence was victory. But the truth was different. The silence had only been the calm before the storm. Some fleets were ordered to attack the ghost ships, but those who dared to test the ancient weapons paid a terrible price. When one alien dreadnought fired its cannons at the largest human vessel, the reply came instantly. A single beam of pure light cut through shields, armor, and core in a heartbeat, leaving nothing but fragments drifting in the void. The dreadnought was gone before its crew even understood they were dead. The watching fleets fell back in terror. No alien weapon could match such power, not even after 20,000 years of advancement. The galaxy realized the cruel truth. Even in death, humanity's weapons were still supreme. The AI did not pursue the fleeing fleets. It allowed them to run, as though it wanted the fear to spread. More ships in the fleet awakened, engines roaring, weapons glowing, signals passing faster and faster. The formation shifted again, becoming tighter, more organized, like soldiers falling into ranks. To the aliens, it looked as though the fleet was preparing for war. To the AI, it was only completing its mission, hold the line until humanity returned. But no one in the galaxy knew when, or if, the humans would come back. The council debated endlessly, their halls filled with fear and anger, but no answer came. And in the shadows of space, the ghost fleet waited, silent yet alive, its weapons shining like the eyes of predators ready to strike. The galaxy held its breath, knowing the next move could decide the fate of every star. The galaxy trembled as the ghost fleet grew stronger, and the Galactic Council could no longer hide the truth. Armadas were gathered, warships from 100 races sent to surround the ancient vessels, their weapons charged and ready. But deep inside their hearts, every commander knew the truth. They were afraid. They had seen what one human warship could do to a dreadnought, and now there were dozens, maybe hundreds, aligned in perfect formation, glowing with power older than their empires. Still, the Council ordered the attack. Fleets advanced, filling the void with fire, energy beams, and missiles that could crack moons. The Ghost Fleet did not move at first, letting the storm of weapons wash over them. For a moment, the galaxy thought perhaps the old machines would finally break. But then, with terrifying calm, the warships answered. Shields ignited with brilliant light, bending space, redirecting fire. Cannons that had slept for ages roared awake, unleashing destruction that no alien defense could endure. Council fleets exploded in waves, ships torn apart like paper before a hurricane. In minutes, thousands were gone, their wrecks drifting among the stars. Still, the AI commanding the fleet did not chase the survivors. Instead, it spoke once more in that cold voice that carried across all channels. We are not gone. Humanity is not gone. We are coming. The words spread everywhere, and the galaxy drowned in fear. But then, something new appeared, another signal, faint at first, but different from the AI's voice. This one was human. The council froze as it reached their ears, weaker than the AI but alive, undeniable. This is the Vanguard, the voice said, cracked with static but filled with life. We return. The AI's lights pulsed brighter, almost like joy, as if it had been waiting for this moment. Across the galaxy, sensors picked up movement in the deep void, far beyond mapped space. Fleets were coming, human fleets, real ones, not ghosts, not machines. Their engines blazed brighter than stars, their weapons unmatched even by the awakened relics. Humanity had not died. They had not vanished. They had only been far away, beyond the reach of the council, waiting, watching, building. Now they had returned. Panic shattered the council chambers. Some demanded surrender, others swore they would fight, but all knew the truth: the masters of war were back. Across the stars, ordinary people watched the sky in fear, some in hope, wondering if the humans would come as conquerors or saviors. The Ghost Fleet shifted again, aligning itself like soldiers saluting their commanders, awaiting the orders of their true masters. The AI spoke one last time, and its words became a prophecy that would echo through every world. The silence is over. The stars will remember humanity. And as the first new human ships entered the galaxy, their voices filled the dark. The age of silence was finished, and the age of mankind had returned. The galaxy watched in silence as the first true human ships entered known space. They were not like the Ghost Fleet, scarred and ancient, but new and alive, their hulls shining with strange designs no alien had ever seen before. Their engines burned brighter than suns, their movements sharp and precise, as if every ship were part of one vast living organism. The AI inside the Ghost Fleet immediately linked with them, lights pulsing across the old warships like a heartbeat. For the first time in 20,000 years, the relics of the past and the children of the present stood together, united under one flag, one voice, one name: humanity. Across the council worlds, fear and confusion spread. Some rulers demanded war, screaming that the humans must be destroyed before they grew stronger. Others whispered of surrender, admitting that no fleet, no weapon, no empire could ever defeat what had returned. But before any decision could be made, the humans spoke. Their voice was not filled with threats, not filled with mercy either. It was calm, powerful, certain. We are back, the human commander declared, his voice carried by every channel, every frequency, every world. We are not your enemies. We are not your slaves. We are not your prey. We are humanity, and the age of silence is over. The words shook the stars, for all races felt the weight behind them. These were not the broken survivors the council had hoped for. These were not wanderers searching for a home. These were masters who had returned stronger, sharper, and more dangerous than before. The humans revealed that while the galaxy believed them dead, they had gone far beyond the rim, into the uncharted void. There, they had rebuilt, evolved, and forged new technologies. The silence had not been an end but a preparation. Every weapon, every ship, every soldier they now commanded was born from 20,000 years of waiting. And now, with their return, they demanded nothing but recognition of their place among the stars. But not all races trusted these words. Some believed it was a trick, a way to lure the galaxy into surrender. Fleets were sent to test the human strength, but every challenge ended the same way: swift destruction, overwhelming power, human victory without effort. The council realized too late that humanity had not only returned, they had surpassed every other race. The old ghost fleet became the shield, the new human fleet became the sword, and together they stood as an unbreakable force. Across the galaxy, whispers began to change. No longer were humans spoken of only in fear. Some races began to hope that maybe the return of humanity meant an end to endless wars, an end to council oppression, an end to the lies of history. Others swore to resist until the last star burned out. But in their hearts, all knew the truth. The balance of power had ended, and a new age had begun. The humans did not conquer immediately. They waited, they watched, they listened, letting the galaxy tremble beneath their silence once more. And then the final message came, carried by both man and machine, a promise and a warning to every race under the stars. This was only the beginning. The words echoed through every world, every station, every ship, and the galaxy understood that the long silence had ended forever. Humanity had risen again, and the stars would never be the same.